Hello everybody, thank you very much for joining our quarterly webinar. The topic today will be the Microsoft 365 NCE licensing changes. So hopefully, as you guys will be aware, we've sent a few different notifications around. Microsoft are making some big changes to the Microsoft 365 licensing. That will impact you guys from a cost perspective. And if you're one of our existing licenses providers, this will keep you informed about the changes that will be coming. We're also joined today by my colleague, Ben. Hi, Ben. Do you want to introduce yourself?
Hi there, I'm Ben. I'm head of sales here at Valto, joined in April. Nice to meet you all.
Thank you very much, Ben. So just to quickly go over the slides. So the agenda today is basically we're going to do a quick introduction. We're going to then talk about the changes that are coming with the Microsoft licenses, which are kind of named the new customer experience, NCE. We're going to then hand over to Ben, and he's going to talk about Windows 11 launch. We're also going to take the opportunity to briefly talk about some of our other recurring services, which you can incorporate to the licenses. And then we'll look to do a Q&A question and close out. So the Microsoft NCE licensing changes. The first major change that's coming with the licensing changes is that there's going to be a price increase across the board for all of the Microsoft 365 licenses. So the plan for the change of basically these will come into effect from March. There is opportunities to lock the current prices down, and we'll talk around some of that's coming. But effectively, you guys should be looking at around a 20% increase on some of those licenses. It varies dependent on the SKU that you'll be looking to get. The prices that are available on the screen at the moment are all of the commercial prices. So if you're a non-profit, we can also come back to you with the different cost increases, but you can see the various SKUs that are available on the price increases. The recommended retail new price is currently estimated. So Microsoft haven't announced what the UK pricing will be. That's going to come in January 2022. But we've given you a rough indication of what those are. There is actually some benefits to the licenses changes as well. A lot of our customers purchase a license called audio conferencing. That's £3 per user per month. And that's now going to be included in most of the licenses. So the actual price increase we're seeing for some of our customers isn't going to be a massive increase because they can start to leverage the fact that we've got some of these audio conferencing that we can save money on. So if you have specific questions about what your license agreement will look like next year, then please get in touch and we can show you what your expected costs will look like moving forward. The next major change that's coming with NCE is the change in which the licensing terms will work. So previously with the licensing model, you're able to change the licenses on a month-to-month basis. Microsoft never committed us or you guys to be able to flex your licenses up and down on a month-to-month basis. Moving forward, that's actually changing. The month-to-month license will still be available, but that's going to come an additional 20% cost. So that's an additional 20% on top of the 20% price rise. So from I guess the major change that our customers need to be aware of is that in this new licensing plan, it's not going to be easy to get the same cost and flex your licenses on a month-to-month basis. The standard offering that will be coming forward is the 12-month license plan. So this is kind of what we'll be positioning for the majority of our licenses for customers. It basically means that you cannot decrease within the term. So if you wanted to change from 100 licenses to 90, you will no longer be able to do that as you were on the previous model. There'll be a cost implication for doing so. This also means that we can have a final SKU, which is the 36-month plan. And this is the cheapest plan that's available, but it's the longest term. So you can tie your licenses down to a 36-month arrangement, and then that would obviously be subject to credit checks and a contract that's been put in place. We will be offering a solution for customers in which we can do a mixture of these licenses. So it is still possible to do a combination of the two. I'm just going to pause briefly and look, there's a couple of questions that have come in. So one of the questions is, Is there no more business standard licenses going forward? The answer is yes. So sorry, this is just giving you an indication of some of the most popular SKUs and what those new prices will be. It will definitely be available, the Microsoft 365 Business Standard license, but I would factor in a 20% cost increase. Again, we can get in touch with you after the event to kind of clarify that. Also, the question is that potentially the Microsoft 365 Business Premium may be the best license for you, and the cost between the two plans might not be as large. Another question is that what does NCE stand for? So it stands for the New Commerce Experience. So Microsoft New Commerce Experience, that's what the NCE stands for. So Valto have kind of decided an approach in which we'll be kind of working with our customers on this. So effectively from next year, this will be happening in Q1 of next year, January, February. There will be new contracts issued to all of our clients. And obviously the reason for that is we have to be in line with Microsoft's changes. And we also have to be in a position where we're not at risk of you guys wanting to flex your licenses and we're not able to do so anymore. So we're going to present 3 options for customers. The first option is the standard offering, which will be all of the licenses that customers kind of select will be on a 12-month contract. So that means that generally your licenses are going to be fixed within that 12-month agreement. So if you have 20 users, you will then be paying for 20 and you will not be able to flex that down over the period of 12 months. We understand that some of our customers require flexibility. So their business model is to grow in certain busier periods. So option 2 is we're going to be looking to put people on a 10% month-to-month plan, which means that they'll be paying a premium, 20% more premium for that license. But it also means that there's 10% flexibility to increase and decrease throughout that period. And we'll then put the remaining 90% on that 12 months to lock in the cheaper pricing. The final and third option is that if a customer would like 36 months, we will be able to provide that at the discounted rate, but it will be subject to credit checks and obviously contracts being signed. So those are the 3 standard approaches we have for customers. We'll be working with each individual customer and kind of talking through the options, and kind of if you have a preferred approach that's slightly different from these, then we'll kind of be happy to work with you on that basis. New customers, so anybody who's joined us who isn't a current customer, and just for reference, if you're a new customer from January 2022, we'll be looking at putting people on the NCE 12-month contract by default. And you can anticipate that the changes for our existing customers to do with the contracts and the licenses is going to happen over Q1 of next year. So we'll be looking to move to this model as quickly as possible with as least disruption as we can. We've put together a timeline of what the kind of changes are, so you can kind of see clearly what's happening. So October of this year is when the technical release of NCE was kind of announced and launched. January of next year, that's when we'll be looking at signing up new customers on the NCE platform by default. Then we're going to be looking from January to process or update all of our contracts and migrate existing customers to the NCE plan. And we anticipate by March of next year that we'd have had all of our customers migrated and everybody on this new plan. June of 2022, NCE project will be completed and the old licensing model will no longer be available. So there's a clear time frame in which we're planning to make these changes. And I should imagine this is going to be closely in line with the industry and the changes that they plan to make as well. So we do have a couple of other slides, but I think what's probably a good idea is that we can pause and answer any specific questions that people may have for NCE. I know that we've answered a couple through that process, but does anybody else have any other questions? Okay, looks like we're all good. So thank you very much, guys. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to hand over to my colleague, Ben, who introduced himself at the beginning. And we're going to go through and talk about some of the changes that have happened in the Microsoft 365 world. So Ben, over to you.
Thanks, Hugh. Okay, so firstly, Windows 11. So we've been using Windows 11 at Valto for a while now. So we've learned a few things. about how it all works and so on. We'll pass a bit of that over to you. Jade is going to pop a link to our blog that we've written in the chat. You can see that link at the bottom of this slide. Just a few quick points about Windows 11 that we've picked up at Valto HQ that should be interesting to you. First of all, the good. So there are snap layouts. So if you click Windows Z and then have a look at that, there are nice ways in which you can actually use the screen presentation to split your screen into different sections. That's a nice little feature, especially if you're working on one screen. The second point is secondary displays. So one thing I always found when I was working using my computer with multiple screens, if I unplugged and then went off and worked at my desk just on my laptop, I'd find that all of the apps that I'd been working on disappeared, and I had to close them down to reopen them on that screen. There's a lot more capability to just manage that feature going forwards. So you literally unplug your other screens and they all appear on your actual single screen instead. So that's really nice. And likewise, once you plug those screens back in, they all pop up again, which is a really nice feature. There's a lot of information on your actual battery usage as well within Windows 11 that gives you an understanding of which applications are using what portion of your battery. And a particular thing I'm a fan of is the general aesthetic. I won't mention the manufacturer that it's looking a bit like, but certain people who use a certain other product would recognise the way that, say, for instance, the navigation tools at the bottom of the screen look and feel, and the general sound as well uses certainly I've got a Surface laptop, which the sounds actually the generic sounds that they use just take advantage of the inbuilt speakers on the machine. Sounds are a lot better. Finally, in the good, the focus sessions. So you're able to control what notifications you receive just by clicking on the clock at the bottom and then opening up the focus menu. You can choose exactly when you want to actually be notified and so on, and got a great deal more control on that side. The bad is one that I've fallen foul of. Is I used to like to have my menu bar at the bottom of other screens, and there seems to be a little bit of a glitch at the moment with that in terms of the way that those navigation buttons actually operate on secondary screens and so on. But hopefully that will be fixed quite soon. Finally, on the way, there is going to be the capability to run Android apps actually on within Windows 11, but that's not available yet as far as I know. And as I said at the head of this slide, there's a little link there, which I think we might be struggling to share, but we'll try and find a way of sharing that link, or you'll be able to find it in the blog section on the Valto website.
Thank you, Ben. So just a couple of other notes while we've been deployed Windows 11 in our environment. So we've been testing it. The taskbar issue that Ben mentioned, I can't get rid of that today. So my taskbar is hidden at the bottom here, or visible at the bottom. The other thing is that Windows 11 can be deployed via Intune. So a few of our customers have asked for a controlled rollout. They obviously don't want to roll out Intune to the whole Windows 11 to the whole business. So you have actually got a mechanism of rolling Windows 11 out through Intune, and we can do that in a phased manner. So a few of our clients have asked to deploy that to key users. And the other fantastic benefit that's coming with Windows 11 is that we're going to have the capability for more integration. There's a lot more stuff in there from a security perspective, from an Intune perspective. So Windows 11 is built on a foundation that will work very well with the security tools from that perspective. So thank you, Ben. We'll hand over back to yourself to just talk about some of our service offerings, including managed licenses.
Marvelous. So managed licensing. So we'll have a look through that. So I suppose just as a reassurance, because with all of these changes, Microsoft have left their licensing in the same, I suppose, state for quite a while now. So we're all used to it, and all of these changes can feel a bit daunting. So please reach out to us at Valto if you have got concerns and you're not sure what to do with your licensing. We'll be delighted to help you there. A few of the ways that we can help are, first of all, with a free licensing audit. Time and time again, when we're having conversations with customers across the globe, we're finding people with the wrong licenses that don't fit their organisation, people paying too much or doubling up on licenses and so on. And so we like to have an audit where one of our consultants will actually go through with a fine-tooth comb and work out exactly what's the right fit for your organisation, and then move you from that licensing to the correct one for you. We'll produce a report for you. You'll be a part of the process and so on. So it's completely transparent. We can also transition you to Valto managed licensing, and in doing so, we can put in place those controls to make sure we know what you've currently got, and then we can move you to Valto managed licensing, where we're just looking after that. You don't pay any more than you would have been before, and it means that we can also make sure that you transition to the different license costs at the right time that's right for your business or organisation. Thirdly, the licensing reviews that we'll carry on. So not only when you transition to us or you'll start your conversation, we'll give that advice, but over time, we'll also keep tabs on your licenses for you to make sure that you don't end up with legacy products that are costing you more than they should be, and also that you're aware of new features and different licenses that come available over time. Finally, webinars like these that we run for our customers that keep you up to speed with what's happening with Microsoft licensing, just in the ethos of this webinar we're running today. Moving on, so that's managed licensing. And then we'll have a little look at Valto Managed IT Support. So Valto Managed IT Support is a wider wrap that Valto can provide, leveraging the full features of the Microsoft 365 product. So we'll just have a little look through that now. So first of all, we can support your IT estate right through to the end user device. So literally everything involved in the provision of the cloud platform right through to the end user's laptop or mobile phone or so on across your organisation. We are a UK organisation, and so we provide UK office hours support as a default with a 24/7 option. And if you haven't had a chance to really have a close look at the capabilities of the Microsoft 365 product, it really is a full-featured, robust, secure approach to IT for your organisation that actually it surprises a lot of people that you can use it to deliver a complete approach to IT. One of the fantastic features I particularly liked when I joined Valto was the way that we were able to deploy my machine that I was going to work from literally without configuration. So it wasn't getting sent to someone that had to spend 2 hours, 3 hours loading software onto it. It literally arrived to my home actually. Unconfigured. I simply typed in my username and password and went and made a cup of tea, came back, maybe counted to 10, and then the machine was ready to use. So that's hugely powerful and reducing those steps of deploying machines. Also, you can incorporate things like bring your own device with controlled access across all users. So dependent on who they are, where they are, and what they're using, you have complete control to be able to say, for instance, if someone's in a coffee shop and it's an untrusted environment, you can reduce their access. Whereas if someone's in a corporate head office or whatever, you can reduce the need for multi-factor authentication, little things like that. Really make it usable and flexible and taking advantage of all those features of the Microsoft product set. Other options that we can provide include backup, so we can provide complete backup outside of the Microsoft product set, so that you know that you've got the confidence of being able to roll back. Microsoft does have backup included within the product set, but it's only for a limited time, so you can extend that using extra products that we can provide. We can also provide things like signature management and providing the actual equipment that you're going to be using. So that's a quick whistle-stop tour of our managed IT support.
Brilliant, thank you, Ben. So kind of the main focus for today's session was very much to focus on the NCE changes. We're aware that it's a complicated change and there's a lot of things moving forward with it, but what we wanted to try and do is keep it as simple as possible, and that's why we've kind of got a short, very easy to follow process. So from an NCE perspective, we have a very clear plan, we have a very easy way to move forward, and it's not going to impact your business too much. It's just unfortunately the license costs that will come alongside that. So we've kind of got a few questions that have kind of popped through. So Jade, are you able to kind of ask the questions that we have?
Yep, so the first one is, when will Teams live events be able to pop out?
So I guess this is referring to the functionality in which Ben and I have got ourselves stuck to the right-hand side of the webinar today, and it would be great if we were overlaid like we can do in the functionality. As far as I'm aware, I haven't seen any timeline for doing that, but obviously the sooner the better. It's just an odd experience that when we're doing the video, we're just stuck on this far right-hand side as opposed to being part of the presentation. It's not that engaging, I don't find. So yeah, sorry, I can't give you a definitive answer on that one. Is there any other questions?
Yep. Do we as a customer need to do anything for the NCE changes?
So the NCE changes, obviously the only major changes are going to be the contract changes. So you'll be notified around this and kind of getting in touch with you from that perspective. All of the changes of licenses will be completely handled by Valto. So it'll be seamless process in the background with no loss of service, and there's no risk of any loss of service. So it's a very easy process. It's just the contract changes and the price increases.
Okay. What future webinars are coming up from Valto?
So we're open forum, really. It would be good perhaps for people to provide some questions around what they would like to see. I know that someone's asked us a question in the thread to say, is there anything on today's agenda to go through Windows 365? There isn't on today's agenda, obviously, but what we are planning on doing is running a Windows Virtual Desktop and Windows 365 webinar in Q1 of next year. So that's definitely on the agenda. Ben, I don't know if you have any ideas about future webinars.
Oh, on the spot there. I'll have to have a think.
All right. Well, we're always kind of trying to keep them in kind of engaging. We've got some ideas around new Power Platform ones. So Dougie will be hosting some on about the latest changes with Microsoft Power Apps and the Power Platform and what's available from that perspective. And then we've had another question pop through, which is just around, do we have experience with Microsoft Loop? So we've also been playing around with that technology and getting our heads around it and playing around with it. So yeah, that's something that we'll be including on our quarterly webinars coming in the future as well. So yeah, thank you very much for joining, guys. I think as the kind of objectives was to keep it short and sweet, try and explain a complicated situation in as easy as possible, and the NCE changes that will be coming up soon will keep you informed. So thank you very much, guys, and we'll see you soon.